Hello and welcome to Insights in Action with Orange 142, where we interview agency leaders and business owners to uncover the journeys, strategies, and insights that drive their success. At Orange 142, we're all about transforming brand stories into impactful digital experiences through innovative media and marketing solutions. And today I'm very lucky to be joined by David Rothstein of Source Communications. How's it going, David?
It's great, Shiv. Thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. I'm doing great as well. Thank you so much for being on the podcast. And I'd love to start this off, David, by understanding a little bit more about you and a little bit more about Source.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me start with Source. So Source is a 42-year young, I like to say, fully independent, full service agency. We do creative, we do media strategy, and then our secret sauce, I like to say, the thing that really differentiates us is sports marketing. Started really from as a passion point from our owner, and over the years has really become a huge part of the business. And we like to think we take a different approach to it. Sports has a lot of different meanings to a lot of different people. It can be highly personal, but when a lot of people think sports marketing, they think Anheuser-Busch and Delta and the big banks. Our approach is it doesn't have to be that way. There are so many opportunities to be in the sports world as a brand and really hit on those fan passions, whether you're small, medium, or large business, you're B2C, you're B2B. We really believe there's an opportunity for everyone. We've been, in my opinion, fairly successful over the years. And I joined Source about 3 years ago now, and my background really comes from sports. So I worked at Madison Square Garden for 12 years in a few different roles, with all within the partnerships group. So I've now seen the business on the agency side and on the property side, and I think it gives myself a unique viewpoint, but obviously provides the agency with an even deeper viewpoint and deeper insight into how these big organizations work and how brands can help navigate them.
Wow, that's really interesting. And I love the take that you have on sports. And so, did Source, did they have a big sports department before you joined on board, or was that kind of your task, was to bring sports into what Source was doing?
I would say the answer is no. We're a relatively small agency, and but there was no dedicated sports department per se, and that's sort of part of the way we think about it, and that it doesn't have to be its own thing. It should be if you believe in it, it should be a part of everything you're doing potentially. If you have a partnership with, I'm going to use the Knicks for example, because I'm a Knicks fan and a big moment for us. But
Yes.
if you have a Knicks partnership, for example, and you're a brand with New York as a target, you should be using that Knicks mark in everything you do as a way to just show that larger connection. And that extends for us across our paid media department, across our creative team. So everyone is always thinking about it. And yes, there's someone like me who might be managing that relationship holistically, but I'm always looking at it from the big picture.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Wow, that's really interesting. And you said a little earlier that sports marketing isn't just for big name brands. And I'm curious, like how would a smaller or lesser known brand effectively be able to like activate in that space?
You get a really good agency that knows how to negotiate really well.
That's fair.
Of course, that's a small part of it. I would
Yeah.
say it's all about finding the lane that's for you, right? Like everyone sees big major league sports, whether it's basketball or baseball or football. And yes, like those partnerships can be expensive, but there are lanes with those teams that you can develop partnerships in the low to mid six figures, which might everyone might not think of. And then those might not be the flashiest partnerships, but it's all as flashy as you make it, right? And what you
Right.
use it for. And if you're a smaller B2B focused brand, for example, you don't necessarily need a big sign in the outfield of a Major League Baseball stadium, but between access to hospitality, utilizing team alumni to show up to your meetings to wow a big prospect, or just really targeted communications from the teams, whether it be email, social, etc., all those can make a really big difference.
Yeah, for sure. And I think to that point, I think that a lot of companies and a lot of people in general assume that partnerships are just about visibility, logos and stadiums, like you mentioned, that type of stuff. How do you go beyond that to drive real engagement?
Yeah, so it's a combination of a few things, and sports, the way we see it, really can hit the full funnel. So I think I mentioned this earlier, but yes, the sign in center field or the courtside signage is important. But think about an NFL game, for example, right? If you're watching just about any NFL game on TV, there's no ribbon LED board that you can see, or there's no logo on the field yet, at least I would say. But if you have an NFL partnership, you're activating at the stadium. So you're directly talking to people and you're coming up presumably with something that's going to make you stand out. You're giving out a cool giveaway, maybe to draw people in, but then you're also getting them the materials or having the right people there to talk directly. For example, we worked with a banking client. It was originally Investors Bank and subsequently they were purchased by Citizens Bank. This goes back a few years ago now, but they had activations at with their partners, and instead of having a traditional activation staff, they'd have bankers managing the activations. So someone had a question, it wasn't, oh, let me find someone. It was, I can answer this. Here's my business card. Let's set up a meeting next
Right.
week.
Yeah, wow.
Um,
That's interesting. Does your passion, I'm curious, does it come from a like a passion in advertising or does it come from like a passion in sports or just both?
I'd say it's both. I'd say I've been fortunate enough to be able to weave my career in with my personal passion, which has probably blurred a few lines over
Yeah.
the years. But ultimately, I think that's a good thing. And for me, sports has been the vehicle. I wouldn't even necessarily call advertising a passion, but what I found like I really enjoyed doing is problem solving.
Yeah.
And this is might sound a little obnoxious, but I see myself as a solutions architect, if you will. And at Source, we have a pretty senior team, whether it's strategy or media or creative or sports. It's a group of seasoned professionals who have done it for years and years and can provide the right answers for you. And that's what I really like. I love talking to whether it's a current client or a potential new client, what is the problem we are trying to solve? Because it's really easy, in my opinion, for any agency to say, you should do a new brand campaign or you should buy programmatic digital, right?
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
you're not necessarily solving anyone's problems with that simple of an answer, yet a lot of people will say you can. We really pride ourselves on digging a level deeper and then coming up with unique solutions. So our tagline is ideas inspire action.
Mm.
And we really believe that. Like my favorite days at the office, and we still have an office that we go to a few times a week, is sitting around a conference table and just brainstorming,
Mm.
whether it be a formal session or an informal session. And I often find that the informal brainstorm is often most effective when I just
Right.
grab one of our creative directors and say, hey, client X told me this problem, what do you think?
Yeah.
And we just riff for 20 minutes. And oftentimes we come up with not necessarily the solution, but an idea or a seed of an idea that can generate a solution.
Yeah. I love that. And I love that you approach it like like you said, a solutions architect, even though that's its own position in like engineering or whatever, but it totally makes sense. I've trained a lot of sales staff. I've built sales teams for agencies and whatnot. And clients and I think the old agency sales model used to be that like here we know what we want so we're just going to or we think we know what you want so here you go we're just going to give you like whatever we think you want whether that's yeah programmatic or what but now it's become this you need to tell me what you're dealing with and what your goals are so that I can prescribe the right solution for you and even potential clients prospects they always say just to try to save some time, they're like, why don't you just send me what you have or send me some info? And I was like,
Yeah.
it doesn't work. You think you want that, but you really don't. You want a custom solution. And unfortunately, a lot of the times that means that you've got to sit on a quick call and just tell people, you know, what you're dealing with. That's a
Yes.
great approach that you guys have.
Yeah. I would always rather take an extra 24 hours, 48 hours to make sure it's the right idea versus just a general idea. And another thing I love about Source is we are completely agnostic. We don't buy media out in advance from anyone. We don't have deals with any particular sports teams or leagues. We certainly have relationships, right? We
Mhm.
have people that we might go to for an idea or two if necessary. but we believe we listen to the client and then come up with that solution that works
Yeah,
for them. And then everything is backed by analytics, right? If we have an idea, we then do the work to make sure that that idea A is executable
yeah,
within a reasonable budget, and B, that research backs it up. And then obviously once we execute and carry that out, we're reporting back on everything and say, knock on wood, this worked. Or sometimes it doesn't work, but here's something we can glean out of it to
right.
improve on for the next time. Nobody bats 1,000.
Exactly, exactly. And the nice thing about the agency world or just marketing in general is you get a lot of at bats, and
Yes.
it's really in the optimizations that you make that the real money and the real ROI comes in. So that's great. David, this has been awesome. I love the path this went down. We talked a lot about sports marketing, which is really cool. And I think a lot of people don't understand that world, even in the marketing world. And so thank you for sharing. Where can people learn more about you? Where can people learn more about Source?
Yeah, absolutely. Best place, our website, www.sourcead.com, sourcead.com, or go to my LinkedIn. Please connect with me, reach out. I look forward to talking to you.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you again. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, sure. Thanks so much.